sligo.ie, and you will see those tallies as they happen, and they are happening at the moment. The Sligo town box is being tallied, and you can read those tallies now as we speak. Right, Paschal, you wanted to say something?
I just said, are we in a position to get some of these tallies?
Oh yeah, we're going to set that up now.
In the context of what Michael was saying, the question traditionally in Sligo Leitrim has been about inter-county transfers. So it applies equally to Sinn Féin as it does to all the other parties as to whether the Sinn Féin candidate running out of South Leitrim is going to get transfers from the Sligo town candidate or vice versa. And it's similar. It's not just Sinn Féin. It's similar to Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil. So I think that should be entered into the equation as well as we move on in this.
All right, John has a bit of breaking news for us. Sorry, Michael. Just John, what can you tell us?
Now, well, I have two complete boxes now that have been tallied from Sligo town. And the first one is north side, and for these I'll just give you the figures for them. Bree 48, Casserly 2, Filan 0, Gallagher 10, Guckian 0, Keaney 3, McManus 30, McSharry 24, McLaughlin 8, Murray 0, O'Hara 0, O'Hora 1, O'Keefe 1, Perry 2, Reynolds 0, Scanlon 2, Sweeney 2. And then at the other side of the town we go to Merville Community Centre, and we have Bree 36, Casserly 4, Filan 3, Gallagher 11, Guckian 1, Keaney 4, McManus 57, McSharry 35, McLaughlin 26, Murray 0, O'Hara 3, O'Hora 3, O'Keefe 13, O'Rourke 2, Perry 8, Reynolds 3, Scanlon 6, and Sweeney 1. So now that leaves, back to what I was saying, Bree, McManus, McSharry are certainly the three top vote catchers in Sligo that we have seen at the moment here going, but it's very, very early stages. What surprises me here is that the Gallagher vote doesn't surprise me, but the Filan vote is very, very low. It seems to be very low in Sligo. The Gallagher vote, on the other hand, seems to be consistent. We have a north side and a Merville vote there of 10 and 11. So that just shows that they're on that.
Okay, as you would expect, John, I suppose, strong showing for Bree and McSharry and McManus, as you would expect it. Okay, Marian Harkin has joined us as well. We'll be talking to Marian in a moment when we get set up. Michael, you wanted to say something there, or anybody want to comment on those very, very early figures?
The inter-county transfers, or Paschal was talking about the inter-county transfers, and of course that's something that we would be looking at, because we'll be looking to see to what extent the vote management, if you want to call that, we obviously encouraged that people would vote 1 and 2 for the two Sinn Féin candidates, and we also encouraged that people would continue their votes. The coalition of parties who had signed up to the principles, to the right to change. So it'll be interesting to see how that panned out during when the results are tallied.
Yes, Paschal.
Again, looking at these two boxes from Sligo, which bear absolutely no reflection on the wider constituency. You couldn't take anything out of them other than what seems to be perhaps happening, which answers the question in my mind so far, is that there had to, in order for there to be a viable chance of an independent seat, say on that fourth seat, one of the independent candidates, and I use the word independent in the broader sense, was going to have to emerge. And it seems at the moment that Declan Bree is leading the charge in Sligo in that regard. And it'll be interesting to see what happens as the Sligo boxes are open. But once that the Sligo boxes are completed, what happens next in terms of the independents? My suggestion would be that that will fade and that the major parties will start to dominate.
Noel made reference earlier to the chances of an independent taking the final seat. At this very, very early stage, or even during the campaign, Paschal, did you give the independents a chance in Sligo?
No, not at all.
Not at all.
Can I say not at all? I did it on the basis that this is, as has been pointed out already, a bizarre constituency made up of 4 counties and 2 provinces. So the variables are impossible to evaluate. But to repeat the point, because there's so many independents grouped around Sligo town and its environs, that in order for an independent to be viable in terms of being there as last man standing, one of them was going to have to emerge. And at the moment, Declan Bree has been picking up. And I'm not surprised at that. I mean, Declan has been a long-serving public representative in Sligo town. And if I'm right, that the 2 boxes we're talking about come from 2 different social environments.
Completely different. You can see them there. There's the St. Anne's Booth 2 School Project and Northside Fortill Booth 2.
So one would be kind of working class, the other might be sort of mixture middle class, working class.
Marian Harkin, you're welcome to the programme as well. Marian Harkin, MEP and course former. You've gone through all this before, Marian. 2002, wasn't it?
Yes, indeed.
2002.
Indeed it was.
Which only seems like yesterday.
Hearts will be broken today, and people's dreams will be realised.
I think some could be broken already, even 15, 20 minutes in. But anyway, what are your initial thoughts?
Well, I'm just looking at them here, and some of the boxes I've seen. Declan Bree is doing very well. Some really good votes in Sligo town. Also McSharry, and I suppose it's difficult really to get a sense of it yet as to who is really doing well. But looking at the national figures that we heard this morning, and it was astonishing to see that the 2 main parties in Labour together were just over 50%.
Was that astonishing to you?
People talk about a seismic shift in politics.
Were you surprised when you heard those exit polls last night and again this morning?
A little bit. I think Fianna Fáil will be pleasantly surprised, and I think Fine Gael will be really quite disappointed with the polls. I mean, even yesterday they were talking about a minimum of 51, 52 seats. They're now talking about maybe Tom Curran was on, and he was speaking
talking about
somewhere
47, I think, wasn't he?
Yeah, but he's now talking about somewhere between 44 and 48 seats, maybe the higher end of it. But that's a huge change from what was expected. So people said there might be a seismic shift in politics, and I think we have seen that nationally. And what we've got to look at now and see is it happening here in Sligo Leitrim?
Okay. Do you think it will happen in Sligo Leitrim? What are your thoughts?
I think what we're going to see here will be one for each of Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael and Sinn Féin. Where the last seat goes, will be astonishingly difficult at this stage to work out. But it's just too early. You can't see a pattern when you're looking at just a few boxes around the town and around Sligo. But even though I see some of the Leitrim boxes are coming in, but just to make sense of them at this stage is a bit difficult.
Yeah, no, they shouldn't be coming in yet. They're the last boxes to be. They're the last boxes to be carried. And just to let people know again, the Sligo town boxes have been tallied, followed by the County Sligo boxes, and then he said it was going to be Cavan and Donegal, followed by Leitrim. Leitrim are the last boxes to be open. Okay, I think we'll take a quick break, just to remind people again that if you want to see the tallies as they come in, they're on our website, oceanfm.ie, if you want to see those tallies as they happen. And the Sligo town tallies are ongoing, 2 boxes complete, as John Comiskey said. We're also on Twitter at OceanFM Ireland if you want to tweet us, at OceanFM Ireland, and the hashtag is Sligo Leitrim, hashtag Sligo Leitrim at OceanFM Ireland. We'll take a quick break. We're back again in a moment with Michael, Paschal, Noel, Marian and John.
Yeah, you'll be able to watch us online. If you go to oceanfm.ie, then there's a big click button there and you can watch live. We also, as you mentioned, have the tallies online as they happen. As soon as they're entered into the computer here, they go up online. Again, oceanfm.ie. And if you have any comments, you can text the usual number 083 3500 530, or you can tweet us either if you're on Twitter at OceanFM Ireland. Just use the hashtag Sligo Leitrim. We'll be looking at that stream all day. So if you're looking, let's say, what's Manorhampton Boot
Kenny Guckian 1, Kenny 15, McManus 104, McSharry 146, McLaughlin 74, Murray 3, O'Hara 6, O'Hora 3, O'Keefe 25, O'Rourke 0, Perry 25, Reynolds 12, Scanlon 12, Sweeney 3. So at this early stage, it's going to be a neck and neck battle as to who heads the poll. Will it be McSharry or Kenny? Those are the two for heading the poll. I possibly favour McSharry, who will definitely be elected. Kenny will also be elected when we come to the Leitrim boxes. But what's interesting here now for us is the Bree vote. It's in the town.
Yeah.
It's in the town. It's early stages. He's polling 30% in the town, which is an excellent poll. And look at the McManus vote in the town as well. Again, around the 16% in the town.
Yeah.
So those are the two crucial ones to decide a seat, either for.
Okay, and if you're looking at this, if you're accessing this online, if you just scroll down right to the end of the tallies, you'll have running totals at the very end, and they show how many boxes are open, the total votes of each candidate, and indeed the total percentage vote, which is very, very interesting and significant, as John says. And you'll see them there: Breeze on 25%, Casterly on 4%, Filan 1%, Gallagher 9%, Guckian 0%, Kenny 2%, McManus 16%, McSharry 21%, McLaughlin 10%, Murray 0%, O'Hara 1%, O'Hora 0%, O'Keefe 3%, O'Rourke 0%, Perry 3%, Reynolds 1%, Scanlon 2%, and Sweeney 1%. And that's according to this with 5 boxes open. And press the F5 button to refresh.
Yes,
on your computer.
Just for your listeners and those that are viewing it online there, despite all our testing and everything with Edmund and Porrick and everything, we have a slight problem there on the bottom line where it's showing reference, so we hope to have that fixed very, very shortly.
All right.
But that's again for the percent. But on those percentages going there, it certainly looked like a seat for an independent or a left candidate, along with a Fianna Fáil, Sinn Féin, and Fine Gael doing particularly bad in Sligo town.
Noel, I'll bring you in at this point. John's comment there that Fine Gael aren't polling particularly well in Sligo town.
Yeah, well, certainly on the boxes that's open so far, that is the case. But I suppose Sligo town is, there are a lot of boxes in the town, and depending on which part of the town and which boxes are opened will tell a different story. Obviously, Chris McManus and Mark McSharry and Declan Bree is doing well on the boxes that's open so far. I'd expect there might be a little change, or there should be a change in that, maybe when boxes in other parts of the town are opened, that will maybe swing away a bit more from the left and a bit more towards the centre and centre-right parties. But at the moment, it's on what's open, it's certainly looking good for the candidates mentioned.
Okay, Marian, your thoughts?
Yeah, well, with
5 boxes.
Five boxes. Again, you got to look where they are.
Which is only 4% of the entire.
Yeah, but you're
electors in
Declan Bree on
County
25%, McManus 16, McSharry 21, McLaughlin 10. I can't see Perry. I think is it?
Yeah. Yeah, Perry's up on 3%.
3%. I mean, there's no doubt, John, from what you're saying, that you're looking at a left seat along with one for Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, Sinn Féin on those figures. And I know they will change considerably. When you go to vote, won't hold, in Cavan and Leitrim the way it has in Sligo town, and it'll be interesting to see rural Sligo. But nonetheless, it's a very high vote here today. I think it'll be interesting, and might have a look at it in a minute, to compare actual polling booths with how perhaps people did the last time.
Yeah, we have those figures. We'll have a look at them in a moment. John is going off to get a couple more figures. Right, Declan Bree seems to be doing very well. Or would you expect that at this stage, Marian? Or what are your views on that?
Yeah, well, again, you need to look at the polling booths. But yes, it's a great vote for Declan Bree so far. But what you need to do is maybe compare, and I know John is going to do it, to see how he did the last time. But I have no doubt you'll find his vote is significantly up. But you do need to look at the figures. I think John is just checking them out now. But certainly, it's not just a national seismic shift. If Sligo town is anything to go by, we're looking at it here as well. But it is early days, Niall. It's very early days.
John, the comparison between 2011 and 2016.
Well, I'm not privy to the exact boxes that have been opened, but just as a matter of interest here, on the last time out, Declan Bree in Sligo town in total in Sligo town he had 1,300 votes. He already has 207 with 5 boxes open. So that's now Declan Bree's percentage the last time. No, sorry, I won't give you the percentage on it the last time. Veronica Cawley had 583. Sinn Féin and Michael Colreavy for Sligo town totals the last time had 1,100. It looks very much like Chris McManus will be coming close to watching that. Tony McLaughlin, on the other hand, the last time in Sligo town, 2,017 votes. This time he's down on 52 with just 5 boxes open. I might be able to look at some of those. Merville, for example, Tony McLaughlin had 40 the last time. He's substantially down on that this time. 62 and 56 in Merville the last time. Whereas Declan Bree's vote of 44, 51 and 59 is up. Have we St Edward's booth 4? I'll just look at that there and we'll do a comparison on it. Bree the last time had 14, and he's up this time to 19, is it? Tony McLaughlin had 42. If somebody looks at Tony McLaughlin's figure there, they can confirm it. Merrick McSharry 17. What had Merrick McSharry the last time in St Edward's? There it is.
Okay, Paschal, you have a few.
He has doubled his vote.
Yeah, I know that he's doing specifics, but I just did a run around the count, and I looked in on the ongoing tally between a variety of boxes. In fact, I've moved out into the country areas of Sligo now, along with the towns. One thing that has certainly emerged is that Mark McSharry is doing exceptionally well in Sligo town, even in areas where local knowledge has been telling me where, for example, Declan Bree would have been pulling big vote, where Sean McManus would have been picking a big vote. McSharry is making very, very strong inroads. So an overview, and a very early overview, is that Mark McSharry's vote in Sligo town is going to be increased over the last time. Okay. In the country areas, what I've noticed is that, for example, I saw one of the boxes in Ballymote. Eamon Scanlon was leading John Perry by not 2-1, but very close to it. And then another box.
Really? Why that much?
And then another box, they were more or less neck and neck in Ballymote. And in the immediate areas around Ballycarrow and Ballysodare and that, Perry was holding his own with Tony McLaughlin, looking at it from the Fine Gael side of things. So for those people that might have been wondering just what impact John Perry was making because of all the trials and tribulations of the last few months, he certainly his vote seems to be holding up in relative terms, relative to his colleague Tony McLaughlin. And also Eamon Scanlon is polling very, very well again in those South Sligo boxes that I have been looking at, which are only half tallied. I mean, this was, as I say, a quick run around the various people that are taking the tallies, but certainly what has emerged, in my opinion, is that in Sligo town, Mark McSharry is doing exceptionally well.
All right, okay. Noel.
Look, I think it's very, very early to be kind of even making predictions at this stage. I mean, when the South Sligo boxes are open, it'll obviously tell a different story for John Perry and Eamon Scanlon. In Sligo town, as Paschal has said, Marian, Declan Bree seems to be doing very well, Mark McSherry and Chris McManus. But I suppose you really have to get more boxes in from the rural part of the county to even draw any kind of conclusion at this stage. So
just say very briefly in the context of Declan Bree, as we were indicating early on, where it's been getting an impressive vote in Sligo town, it has trailed off from again an overview across the various tallies that are going on. It has tailed off in the country areas.
All right, just to explain, because people, and again, if you want questions asked, simply text 083 3500 530, 083 3500 530 if you want any questions asked of our panel. Somebody wondering, Paschal, how you can be reading South Sligo and Ballymote boxes when there's still a tally in the Sligo town.
No. What I'm saying is that they're tallying South Sligo boxes at the moment. The way that the count, as we can see here, and perhaps listeners at home maybe can't quite get an indication of how the layout is. It's in a rectangle, and there are tally people right around that rectangle, and as the boxes are being opened, they are starting tallies. And what I was looking at was, I just went right around that rectangle and picked up wherever the tallies were going on, and there are certainly tallies going on for Ballymote, Ballinacaro, Ballisadair at the moment, right now as we speak. And that's where I was picking up that sort of very early indication. And all I was looking for example, in those boxes was the contest between John Perry and Eamon Scanlon, because they would be in South Sligo, and I think Noel would agree that's going to be critical for the outcome.
All right, okay. As a former independent deputy in this constituency, Marian, again, that's a big question for people today. Can the independents land a seat here in Sligo Leitrim?
Yes, it is, and it's too early to say. It really is. Bree is doing very well in Sligo town, but you've got to look. But I mean, I think he will pick up votes in Leitrim. I've no doubt about that, and certainly parts of South Donegal. I'm not sure about West Cavan, what strength he'd have there, but 25% is really good in the town. I was asking Paschal if he saw what was happening out in Ballymote and some of the rural boxes, but not really. So we got to wait and see on that. But I mean, all you can say is that for any chance on.
All right, and just put it in context, five boxes officially tallied, which represents 4% of the entire County Sligo polling boxes. So it's still a very, very small area. We can only tell a certain amount from that.
Yeah, but there are a number of independents running as well, and sort of, not that independent will automatically transfer to independent, but it'll be a bit higher than normal. So, and that's going to be an interesting one at the end of the day nationally as well. Given the high independent vote, where they don't get elected, where are those votes going to go? Those are going to decide a lot of the last seats, and could change, even as we look at a national picture now, could change it.
Just to go back to my earlier comments, and again, a perception is that when those country boxes, those rural boxes that Marian was referring to, that I was looking at as they were being tallied, and there were only about maybe a third tallied when I saw them, it was really a contest between the big parties. There wasn't any great traction
at all for
among the independents in Ballintoher, Ballisadair, Ballinacaro, Ballymote that I saw, and they were the ones that I can remember looking at.
All right, Noel Merrick.
I suppose it's important to remember as well, only a bit over a third of the boxes, less than half the boxes of County Sligo is in Sligo town. Just over a third of the boxes. So
correct.
Any trend in the town, can really be changed around a lot when the rural boxes come in. So, I mean, I suppose to base any prediction on 4% of the boxes open is a bit, it's a bit early, a bit premature, is right.
All right, just before we go to another break, John Comiskey has been out and about, and he's back with his clipboard again. John.
Right.
What can you tell us?
This time we have Ballisadair, and we may be able to do a direct comparison this time as we move along on Ballisadair this time. This time, Ballisadair, Bree, 33. 2011, Bree was 16. We move along to Colreavy the last time. This time, McManus, 22. Colreavy, 13. But we must match that against Keaney, who was 7. So that's for the Sinn Féin. Midlachlan this time has 48. The last time he had 33. McSherry this time 52. The last time 51. O'Keefe And this will give us an indication. O'Keefe, 19 this time. The last time, 65. Perry, this time, 46. Do our listeners remember what John Perry got in Ballysadare in 2011? 131.
Well, there's a massive change here.
Huge change in that particular polling station. Scanlon, 28 this time. Last time, 58. So again, a drop for Scanlon. I would think that the overall votes has probably dropped in that particular one.
Okay, and that's
Marie Casserly, interestingly, Marie Casserly has 32, and Finbar Filan, 18, Gallagher, 9, Guckian, 2, Murray, 0, O'Hara, 8, O'Hora, 2, O'Rourke, 1, and Sweeney, 0.
All right, that's just one of the booths in Ballysadare.
That's booth 4 in Ballysadare.
Right, okay.
Jerry Rindles, sorry Paschal, 6 Jerry Rindles has this time.
Right, well, who wants to comment on that? As you can see, a massive decrease in the vote for
that Scanlon
John
vote.
Perry in that.
No, that Scanlon vote. Could I just get a clarification there?
28 this time, 58 the last time.
Yeah, that I would say that's disappointing for Eamon. Where has that vote gone, John? Are you getting, from looking at your figures, John, where do you think that vote has gone? Where has it shifted? I mean, on the Perry vote as well.
A massive decrease in John Perry's vote
but
there.
Where has it shifted?
Down from 46 to 131.
John, where has that vote shifted?
Okay. Well,
sorry, I'm doing the totals on it here for the moment. 158.
Right, I'll tell you what. We'll take a quick break. We've a quick break to take. John is doing the maths on the Ballysadare booth and what could possibly that mean for the overall situation. Join us again at the Clarion Hotel in a few moments. Niall in Sligo for the Sligo Leitrim election count. Now there are, if you're checking our tallies, and please do so online at oceanfm.ie. Click on our website there, and you can update all the tallies. And as I look at it, there are 12 boxes in Sligo town tallied. The running totals are as follows. We'll give them in percentages maybe. Bree is on 18%, Casterly 4%, Finbar Filan 2%, Nigel Gallagher 6%, Des Guckian 0%, Martin Keaney on 2%, Chris McManus on 18%, Mark McSharry on 19%, Tony McLaughlin 14%, Eamon Murray 0%, Bernie O'Hara 2%, Leslie O'Hara 1%, Susan O'Keefe 5%, Paddy O'Rourke is on 0%, John Perry is on 4%, Jerry Reynolds on 2%, Eamon Scanlon on 2%, and Bernard Sweeney on 0%. Paschal and Marian are with us. Paschal, and I know Marian, you want to do
she has
a couple of comparisons there, because there are some booths in from Skull Ursula.
Yeah, I just
on the Strandhill Road
here from Skull Ursula, booth 6. So there are 6 booths. It's important to remember that. But to me, the big change, there are two big changes here. According to what I have, the last time out, we got 18 votes in this booth. He's got 66 this time. Looking at McLaughlin, he's held 85 last time, 83 this time, so that's a good hold. But the other big change is McSharry, who got 38 the last time, on 79 this time. John Perry is down from 33 to 20. Eamon Scanlon is up from 5 to 13, but those are among the smaller figures. But the big changes here is a huge jump. It's just one booth now, Skull Ursula booth 6, a huge jump for Bree, and almost a doubling of nearly a doubling of the vote for Mark McSharry.
And that seems to be mirrored in what John was telling us about Ballysadare as well. This is quite significant. I know it's early days and it's Sligo town, but this is significant, Marian, isn't it?
Oh, it's very significant. And myself and Paschal were just chatting here about the 4th seat, and of course that's what everybody's speculating on. And you know, my look on it at this stage, and I know there are 10,000 votes in West Cavan, we have South Donegal, we have no picture of that yet, but it does look as if there might well be an independent seat for the 4th, that none of neither Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael or Sinn Féin would pick up a 4th seat, but it is too early. But for sure one thing, if an independent isn't elected, those votes will determine where the 4th seat goes.
Yeah, and
Paschal,
again,
you'd agree with that?
Yeah, I would. And I said it earlier. Declan Bree is polling very impressively in Sligo town, and he must be pleased with that. The question remains now whether his own legacy of being a former Labour TD across the constituency of Sligo Leitrim will come into play because of the surge towards independence, or will, as Marian says, that independent transfer will it just go every which way? As things stand at the moment, it would seem to me that as the transfers are coming through, it's going to consolidate around what could be now reckoned to be Declan Bree, Mark McSharry, Sean McManus and Tony McLaughlin.
Chris McManus.
Chris McManus, I'm sorry. And among those 4.
But then we haven't seen Leitrim at all, and we haven't seen Reynolds, so we don't know how well he's going to do.
I appreciate that, but in terms of what will happen with the Sligo town...
Oh, yes, yeah.
We were saying earlier that what was going to happen
Yes, sorry.
It seems on the face of these figures that it would consolidate around those
You're absolutely right.
4 candidates, and the others that would be outside of Sligo town are not going to benefit to any great extent. But again, it distorts, as Marian says, the overall picture across 4 counties.
John, did you want to say something? You're furiously studying some more figures there, John.
Yes.
16 boxes now tallied.
Yes, and what I see happening here, and what's going to leave it very interesting here, is the distribution of Gallagher's vote. Gallagher is the key maker here between Bree and McManus. We're practically assured at this stage that Kenny McSharry will take a seat for Fianna Fáil and Sinn Féin. Given that the Leitrim vote, the Cavan vote and the Donegal vote has to come in, we're running on that, so we're assured on that. There's one seat for Fine Gael. At the moment, McLaughlin is the favourite for that seat there at the moment, given on what we have at the moment. And the last seat, to my mind, at this point in time, is going to be a battle between Bree and McManus for the last seat, with Gallagher the key maker in that. When Gallagher is eliminated, But bear in mind, we also have a female vote to distribute as well. And I don't call it a female vote because it doesn't appear to be. The girls don't seem to be voting for the girls in this constituency.
Okay.
So, but Gallagher is the key pin in this. And if Bree stays ahead of McManus, Bree will take the seat in the last seat.
Okay, well, we don't like misleading people, but people like to get an indication 1 hour in, and it is 1 hour in. Paschal or Marian, would you agree, disagree with that, or is John more or less on track?
Marian?
I'm sorry,
I just in the context of, I still wouldn't go anywhere close to calling that, because, I mean, if you look at the Sligo town, it's a distortion of the overall constituency, so you can't conclude anything from it. That's being honest about it. To me, it's a blank sheet at the moment. One can agree on what has been the pre-election consensus of one Fianna Fáil, one Fine Gael, one Sinn Féin, but what seems to be crystallising is that is now going to be Mark McSharry for Fianna Fáil, Tony McLaughlin for Fine Gael, and awaiting the Leitrim vote as things stand with Chris McManus. What's going to happen, Chris's vote outside of Sligo town? Again, the consensus is that it's Martin Keaney because of the massive vote coming in from Sligo, or massive vote coming in from Leitrim and from West Cavan. Yeah. So, but beyond that, and even that, I don't believe you can get an agreed consensus on it.
All right, okay.
Because Sligo town is a distortion at the moment.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to bring Carty in, who, of course, has set up this innovative tally system, which you can now get at your fingertips, as you know. Porrick, you've been working hard all morning, master tally man, as we call you, Porrick from the IT Sligo. What's your initial thoughts after 1 hour of the count?
First of all, the first thoughts obviously is about the online tallies, and we're getting very, very positive feedback on the Ocean FM website. It's actually very interesting to see the positive feedback and the number of hits that's coming in on that. And I always say this is all about bringing democracy to the people, and they're listening this morning to the radio, but now they're actually able to engage. It's like here in the tally centre, they can see the boxes being opened, and they can get the numbers per candidate per box, and there's some very, very interesting summary information there as well. And if you look at some of the summary information itself, I think it's very, very interesting. We saw the exit polls last night, but Sligo town, which would be a fair representation of an urban vote, and Fianna Fáil is running at 23% in Sligo town at the moment, with let me see, what is it, 17% of the boxes opened in the county of Sligo, so it means quite a number of the town boxes are open. Fianna Fáil are running at 23%, and Fine Gael are only running at 21%, and Labour at 6%. So maybe the exit polls are going to be a little bit distorted in comparison to what we're going to happen outside Dublin. And of course others, they were right, others are running at 32%, so and Sinn Féin is running at 18%. So it's all to play for, and I think that there's going to be an awful lot more votes counted before we can definitively make a decision about anybody being elected.
All right, okay. There are 19 boxes open Sligo town. That is the situation. Then the county Sligo boxes are next, Porrick. That is the situation. And just to remind people again, you can find the tallies instantly at the click of a button. Isn't that right?
Yes. Anybody who visits the Ocean FM website, all they have to do is click on the button on the Ocean FM website. You can click if you're from Sligo, click on the Sligo tallies, and the tally boxes sheets come up there for Sligo. Likewise, when we move on to Donegal, there's a page for Donegal, and there's a button there for Donegal. When you go across into Cavan, and I know, Niall, you have a big listenership in Cavan. When I'm up there, I hear a lot of people speaking about Niall Delaney, and very positively speaking about him as well.
As long as they're not giving out pork.
And of course Leitrim as well. So there's a page for everybody in the audience, as another channel is entitled to say on a Friday night.
All right, and you can watch online as well. oceanfm.ie is the website. You can watch online. Paschal, what do you make of those figures that Porrick gave us in relation to parties? 23% Fianna Fáil, 21% for Fine Gael, 6% for Labour, others on 32, and Sinn Féin on 18.
Well, considering that we're talking about an urban area, Sligo town, where Fianna Fáil would have been perhaps perceived not to be doing very well against, and let's be honest, Sligo politically is a left-wing town over the years, and the vote is reflected in that. To see Mark McSharry is actually, and the figures, is actually leading He's topping the poll in the Sligo town area, to put it bluntly, even though it's marginal, but he's on 650 votes to 612 for Declan Bree and 611 for Chris McManus. And with 6 more boxes, I'm getting a little impatient, Niall. I'd like to see another couple of the Sligo town boxes coming out to just get a flavour of what's happening, and also to see some of the country boxes, because that might start widening the argument or widening the debate as to where these votes are going to go.
All right, there are now, we just give you a running total before we take a quick break at 10 o'clock. There are now 22 boxes open in Sligo town, which is 19% of the boxes in all of County Sligo. And the running, and we give percentages, I think that's the best way. Bree is on 18%, Marie Castri's on 4%, Finbar Filan 2%, Nigel Gallagher 6%, Des Guckian on 0%, Martin Kenny on 2%, Chris McManus 17%, Mark McSharry on 19%, Tony McLaughlin on 14%, Eamon Murray 0%, Bernie O'Hara 2%, Leslie O'Hara 1%, Susan O'Keefe on 5%, Paddy O'Rourke 0%, John Perry on 5%, Jerry Reynolds on 2%, Eamon Scanlon on 4%, and Bernard Sweeney on 1%. So that is the latest. So as we said, and as Marian said, and as Paschal said earlier, McSharry is going very well, and Bree is going very well, and Tony McLaughlin going well also.
I'm wondering, has John, with the comparative figures, or Marian, I know has some comparative figures for the last tally, just in the context of the Fianna Fáil vote and McSharry's increase in the vote, how relevant to the last time is it? I mean, is there much of a difference?
Well, I'll have a look at that. It's not easy sometimes just to compare, but when we come back after the break, we might just have something on that. I'll have a quick check at it.
And it's similarly with Tony McLaughlin's vote. Is it up or down?
All right. Well, we'll do a bit of analysis before. Noel, you wanted to say a quick word before we take our
from the Button Community Centre polling booth. Just two main figures. John Perry 159, Eamon Scanlon 152. So they're sort of neck and neck there in Button, and all the rest of the candidates is. I just haven't the figures for them, but they're very low down.
And it comes back to a point I made earlier on when we were talking about the independent figure for the local elections. Margaret Gormley, that's her home base in Butternadden. She got 2,700 votes, and I'm very curious to see where they're going to go. But as things stand there, they look to be splitting between Eamon Scanlon and John Perry. As things stand, just taking that one box.
Okay, and just finally before we take a quick break, John.
Just on the Butternadden vote there, the last time, John Perry in Butternadden 248, Eamon Scanlon 106. So Eamon Scanlon has increased his vote, John Perry has decreased his vote there in Butternadden.
Right, we'll take a very, very quick break at 10 o'clock. There's lots happening here. And just a reminder that you can join the conversation on Twitter at Ocean FM Ireland. Is the handle at Ocean FM Ireland, and please use the hashtag Sligo Leitrim. Hashtag Sligo Leitrim. Stay with us online. You can listen to us obviously on the radio. You can watch us online, and you can get all those tallies as they happen on your computer. We're back in about 3-4 minutes time. warm here already, and it's only early in the day yet. And just to let people know what is happening, we're currently having the Sligo town boxes opened. They're being tallied at the moment currently, and we'll get an update in a moment. Just to remind people again, you can watch this online if you want. Please go on to our website, oceanfm.ie. You can watch proceedings, you can watch our panel discussion and what's happening at the count. You can also get the latest tallies as they happen. Currently there are 28 boxes in Sligo Town open, which is a quarter of all the Sligo Town boxes open. A quarter of all the Sligo Town boxes open. What we can tell you this morning already in overall terms is that Mark McSharry is doing particularly well, Declan Bree is doing well, Tony McLaughlin seems to be holding his own. And I think by general consensus there's going to be one Fine Gael, one Fianna Fáil, one Sinn Féin seat here in Sligo Leitrim, and a battle royale for the last seat with possibly the edge for the independents, but that's very, very early days. And just go through the running totals. As I say, a quarter of all boxes in Sligo Town opened, and we'll give you the running percentages. Bree is on 18%, Casterly is on 4%, Finbar Filan on 2%, Nigel Gallagher on 5%, Des Guckian on 0, Martin Kenny on 2, Chris McManus is on 17, Mark McSharry leading the way on 19%, Tony McLaughlin on 15%, Eamon Murray is on 0%, Bernie O'Hara on 2, Leslie O'Hara on 1, Susan O'Keefe's on 5%, Paddy O'Rourke 0, John Perry on 5, Jerry Reynolds on 2, Eamon Scanlon 4, and Bernard Sweeney is 0. But of course these are the Sligo Town boxes, and figures are obviously skewed, but performing well, and you would expect it, are Mark McSharry, Declan Bree, Chris McManus and Tony McLaughlin. Now Marian, Pádraig, before I come to Marian, Pádraig Hart was with us a moment ago. Pádraig, you've got some interesting statistics outside Sligo Town.
Well, just very interesting, and we're just going to take a for example, and for example in the Cliffany box 2, really interesting figure here. Mark McSharry has actually doubled his vote from 43 to 99. He's over doubled his vote out there in that Cliffany box number 2, and Tony McLaughlin's vote has dropped from 89 to 39 in that box. So that's very significant.
Okay, this is in Cliffany, as you say, out in North Sligo.
That's a very significant trend. Now, it's just a for example, and but if that sort of trend continues throughout the day, there's it's going to be quite interesting. What do you think, John?
Okay. Well, just before I come to John, Marian, you were doing some comparisons there in relation to the figures so far.
Yeah, just some individual comparisons, and these are just at random here. I looked first of all at Tony McLaughlin, just a few samples. I just took 3 samples. I took Scalarcla Booth 1, where his vote is down a bit. He was 120, he's 97 on the tallies. Scalarcla Booth 3, again, he's down a bit. This is Tony McLaughlin I speak of, from 107 to 97. And on Scalarcla 6, he's roughly the same, 85 to 83. So I dropped there for McLaughlin, but nothing very significant, just smallish numbers. Comparing that then to Mark McSharry in the same 3 boxes, Mark has he went from 82 the last time to 86, so it's just a small increase. He dropped in one of the boxes, and in another one he increased significantly. So again, a smallish increase there for Mark McSharry, a little bit of a swing on those votes. Also looking at McSharry's votes elsewhere, just again a few samples. Our Lady of Mercy Booth 2, he's gone up from 34 to 39. On St Anne's Booth 1, from 37 to 41, and on Cranmore Community Centre 2, from 18 to 24. So again, not a huge leap in those votes, but in all of them increasing his vote. And with all of the boxes that are open now, it's interesting to see, that even as we move along, Declan Bree is still holding on his 18%. They're all Sligo Town, but nonetheless he's holding steady with McSharry on 19. So those are the 2 front runners at the moment. I'm going to have a quick look at some of the boxes, comparison maybe with, to see if there's any significant changes in some of the boxes we have in.
All right, okay. John, ringing John Comiskey at this point.
Right, something that has just crossed my mind there is Marian was giving us those figures, and I've been looking at them a little bit in more depth as well. What we're actually seeing here in the Sligo boxes is a swing. It's a swing to Fianna Fáil, certainly, but is it a personal swing to the McSharry dynasty? Is it just a personal one? If we look at Eamon Scanlon's vote the last time, 12%. Eamon Scanlon this time is running at 4%. Now, Merrick McSharry has increased from 10% to 19%. And the other interesting thing when we look at the percentages there on it is that Perry's vote has collapsed in what we've seen in County Sligo so far. It's down from 20% to 5%. The McLaughlin personal vote is only dropped from 70
and that's
to
County
50.
Sligo, John, is it?
That's in County Sligo.
Okay. Which is very, very interesting.
So that's an interesting, and if we go ahead on that then, and when we look at the rural votes that we have to take in, particularly Leitrim where we have the two strong candidates there, Keaney of course being the strong candidate, but of the major parties then left, where we're watching the battle to fill the seats after O'Rourke and Reynolds. If that trend holds there 50-50 with those, they will have an important part to play in the transfers as to who will take the Fine Gael seat, and more importantly, who will take the last.
From what you're saying and what you've seen, John Perry is a tough day ahead of him then, is that what you're saying?
John Perry certainly, in fact both men from Ballymote look like having a long day ahead of them again at the moment, but again it's very early days.
Alright, okay, Pádraig Hart as well. Will you show me a Colreavy box there, Pádraig, was it?
Yeah, very interesting from the Colreavy box. McSharry and McLaughlin are running fairly close to each other, but McSharry has come out on top there again. He's 94 and McLaughlin is 89. Of course, any of our listeners there, these figures will shortly be up there on the website if they visit Ocean, and you'll be able to see every box. But they were the two big hitters, and everybody else didn't feature. And very interestingly there, in fact, the parties of the left out in Colreavy didn't really have a great day at the races at all. Bree got 28 and McManus got 19. So it's a very interesting another for example of how people are voting out the country.
Okay, I'm going to bring Noel Merrick in. Noel, you're back from the floor again. What's happening out there? You seen any trends?
No, just in a scrone boot.
Okay.
Declan Bree 4, Casterly 9, Phelan 3, Gallagher 5, Cooking 3, Keaney 2, McManus 39, McSharry 142, McLaughlin 38, Murray 0, O'Hara 2, O'Hora 5, O'Keefe 13, Perry 73, O'Rourke 1, Perry 73, Reynolds 5, Scanlon 13, and Sweeney nothing.
Okay, right.
13.
And again, sorry, John. Yes, John.
Just on those, and I don't know which of the Inniscrone boxes that is, whether it's booth 1 or booth 2. But certainly, again, there the McLaughlin vote seems to have held there. The Perry vote has dropped substantially. It doesn't matter which of them it is; it has dropped substantially. And the McSharry vote has just about held in a scrone there on the last time, from what I've said there. And going back to what Pádraig was saying about the Colreavy vote there on the left not doing so well, Declan Bree's vote is marginally up there in Colreavy. So and the McManus vote is up in Colreavy as well. So there's Sinn Féin mightn't like to hear me saying there to the left as well, but that's where we'll have them at the moment. So that the left foot.
All right. So just to give people running totals again, there are 35 boxes opened in Sligo town, which is 31% of all boxes in County Sligo. And heading at the moment, the tallies: Mark McSharry's on 18%, Declan Bree on 16%, Chris McManus on 16%, Tony McLaughlin on 14%. As you would expect, as they're all town candidates. Eamon Scannon's back on 7%, John Perry on 6%. Paschal, you've been out and about in the hall here.
I was missing out because I had a pair of cans on me, so
that's right. You have your headphones on now.
Yeah.
You've been mingling out there on the floor.
Yeah.
Which I should say, incidentally, for people who are watching or maybe listening at home, seems to be very, very packed at this early hour of the morning. And a couple of candidates here as well, I've noticed as well. A lot of them don't come until later in the day, but there's a good few of them here already.
No, you're right. It's rather interesting looking at the updated figures here that our earlier indications about the strength of Mark McSharry's vote is being increasingly consolidated. He's still leading the pack on the boxes that have been opened so far. and I have to say that he's bound to be very, very pleased with that. Also, Sinn Féin and Declan Bree are still holding their own, as indicated earlier on. While the Fine Gael vote, I suppose in the context of the exit polls and all of that, Niall, Tony McLaughlin will probably be relatively pleased. He seems to be ahead on the Fine Gael side, and I would indicate, as we said from early on, that he would be the more likely to take that guaranteed Fine Gael seat, that one guaranteed Fine Gael seat, as things stand. While John Perry's vote, I'm sure he's a little bit disappointed. He's on the current total of 647% of the vote, which isn't, I'd say, very, very helpful for him. While Eamon Scanlon is just slightly ahead on 8. I'm not sure whether Eamon is absolutely pleased with what's coming in so far with that, but looking at the one or two individual boxes where he has scored very well would seem to suggest that the battle is in South Sligo. And there was a suggestion pre-election that whoever was ahead of the other in South Sligo would elect. In other words, if it was John Perry ahead, that Scanlon elect him. If it was Scanlon ahead, that Perry would elect him. I don't know whether Noel would accept that, primarily because traditionally South Sligo has always elected a TD.
Right, so you're saying that could possibly not be the case?
Well, no, it will be the case.
It will be.
Oh,
you're confident that South Sligo will.
I think South Sligo will keep a TD. There's 30,000 votes in South Sligo.
Okay. Noel, would you agree with
that? Would be my view. Traditionally and historically, they've always wanted a TD.
Yeah. Would you agree with that, Noel, or not?
Yeah, you'd have to go along with that, but I suppose that, first of all, I think there has to be a lot more of the boxes open in South Sligo to get really a picture of what's happening out there. A lot of boxes has to come in, and of course there's nothing open yet in Leitrim or West Cavan or South Donegal, so I'm not so sure that we could call the Fine Gael seat, if it is one seat at this stage yet, until there are certainly more of the boxes from the rest of the constituency opened. But if Mark McSherry continues to go ahead at the rate he seems to be, that he is going ahead at here, he's definitely on course to take a seat.
Yeah.
And if Eamon Scanlon were to be eliminated, and if Mark McSherry was elected, he would definitely elect John Perry, I would say. If Mark McSherry isn't elected, Mark McSherry will still be soaking up a lot of Eamon Scanlon's votes, but I mean it's far too soon to be predicting that Eamon Scanlon or John Perry or anyone else or any candidate might be eliminated.
Okay, Marian, you've been doing more comparisons, which are always
I just
interesting.
did some comparisons in Banada and Beltra, and again just looking at the main candidates now. Apologies to the others, but for Banada Community Centre, we just look at Declan Bree. He got 3 the last time, and he's on 10 this time. And for Beltra, he got 11 the last time, and he's on 14, which, is he's more than holding, he's increasing his vote. So that's an interesting one, because that's rural Sligo. There's still a small percentage of the vote, I hasten to add that. Then if we look at Tony McLaughlin, in Banada the last time he got 17, and he's up at 28 this time. And similarly, he's increased his vote in Beltra, again not by much, but from 22 to 28. If you look at McSherry, that's the big difference. McSherry got 17 votes in Banada, he got 37 this time.
Yeah.
And crucially,
Big
if you
increase.
look at Beltra, he got 33 and he's on 78 this time.
Niall, would that be eating into Eamon Scanlon?
Let's now have a look at Eamon Scanlon's vote. Actually, it's not. It's not. If you look at Eamon Scanlon in the context of Banada, his vote has more than doubled. He's gone from 57 to 112. And if you look at his vote in Beltra, it's increased as well. According to the tallies, he was just 13 the last time. He's now on 32. So the Fianna Fáil vote in total is significantly up there. And finally, just looking at John Perry, again, now these are tallies. It's important to say that this is not a final vote, so people need to understand that. But I mean, looking at Banada, Perry got 103 43 the last time. According to the tally, he's on 41, and for Beltra, he got 44 last time, he's 39. So what we see there is a significant shift from a Fine Gael vote to a Fianna Fáil.
So would it bear out what I'm suggesting earlier on about South Sligo, that the battle between John Perry and Eamon Scanlon will prove critical in terms of where the fourth seat goes?
Just to remind people once again, if you don't need to remind, you can watch all this live. You can watch Marian and Paschal and Noel and John and Michael and Porrick and the rest of them in glorious HD if you want to. Just click on our website, oceanfm.ie. You can watch proceedings and you can watch what's going on.
Well, I'm actually hoping that my daughter down in Perth, Marie, is tuned in to Ocean FM. I'm hoping she'll be able to pick it up online.
I'm sure you should be very proud of that yellow tie you have on today, Paschal.
Well, I decided I'd try and be as neutral as I could. It's a choice of red, green or blue, so I said I'd go yellow.
Okay, just before we bring John in, Marian, you want to say...
just a quick one there, coming back to what Paschal was saying about South Sligo. The running total at the moment gives Eamon Scanlon 8% and John Perry 7%. So there's a difference, but it's not a shocking difference. So it's still all to play for there. There's only just 130 votes in it.
Sorry for interrupting you, just taking that specific point. There is a view in Leitrim that because Eamon Scanlon represented North Leitrim, that he has a legacy there. And now he didn't come into the area until the last week.
That's right, yeah.
He left it to the Leitrim candidate, Paddy O'Rourke. But having said that, certainly he has a legacy in North Leitrim, which I would suggest that John Perry did. Tony McLaughlin was the man that represented North Leitrim. So going back to this battle, which I think is emerging between John Perry and Eamon Scanlon, for what I believe I will stay with for the moment to nail my colours to the mast is a South Sligo seat.
Okay, right.
That's going to be interesting and fascinating as the day moves on.
John Comiskey.
Yes, indeed. Good morning or good afternoon to whoever is. I have a nephew in New Zealand at the moment, I
hope he's tuned in as well.
So I would hope that he's tuned in there as well. But going back to Marian's point there, we all look at these figures differently as we see them coming in. The important thing there in Beltra is we must remember the last time out in Beltra we had Michael Clark, who was independent there, and those are the votes that have gone back to McSharry now. That's where the swing is to McSharry. So it's not a swing to Fianna Fáil in Beltra, it's a swing to McSharry. Coming back to...
Scanlon picked up a substantial number of votes there, so it is maybe a vote that was there and now has gone back rather than a swing. You're right, John.
Yeah, that's where I look at that there. And the other thing that we must look at, and I respect Paschal's view on this being a battle in Ballymote, I would suggest that we'll have to wait until much later this evening, because the battle in Ballymote could be decided by the battle in Ballinamore.
Okay, just to give people a bit of perspective on this, the returning officer has indicated that the count won't be finished today, incidentally, if you're just wondering about this, that it won't be finished today, it will go into tomorrow. And our expert panel here estimate, am I wrong, John, that the official first count won't be until the late evening?
I'm expecting that we won't have it sooner than 8 o'clock this evening.
8 o'clock, okay. And we would expect tallies in shortly after lunchtime, would you say, early afternoon?
Yes, I'm expecting that we should have a tally around 1 o'clock, maybe 12:30, but certainly we'll be coming near completion of tallies at 1 o'clock, and that'll give us a very firm grip on it then.
All right, okay. Noel, what are your thoughts now at this stage before I come back to Marian?
Well, as I said earlier on, and I still think it's, very premature to be making any predictions as to the demise of any candidate at all at this stage. John Perry and Eamon Scanlon are more or less neck and neck at this stage, but I suppose we really have to wait and see until more of the boxes are opened. Their combined total there wouldn't give them a seat, even if they were to transfer 100% to each other.
Yeah, Scanlon's on 13%, Perry on 9% currently.
Yeah. So I suppose we just have to wait until longer, till there's a clearer picture as to what's going to emerge.
Okay, Marian.
again, as the boxes, the tallies, again, it's very important people understand these are just tallies, but as they're coming in thick and fast, you can see, as of now, a gap beginning to open up a bit between Scanlon on 13 and Perry on 9. I know we have a lot of the rural Sligo boxes to come in, and Paschal, what he said earlier about Eamon maybe hoping to pick up some votes in North Leitrim, that is absolutely true, because that was part of his area, as it were. Interesting to see Bree has come back to 12% at this stage.
He's slipping back a bit as we go.
He's slipping back, but so is everybody. I mean, McSharry is now on 17, so the thing is, and McLaughlin on 13. McLaughlin and Scanlon are on the same at the moment on 13. So, but it's all Sligo.
Okay, and just to explain to people at home, we now have tallies in from Ballysadare, we have tallies in from the 3 booths in Ballymote, 4 booths in Ballymote, which you might look at in a moment, from Banada, from Beltra, from Colreavy, from Carrigaines, from Carrow, Clohogue, Clunloo. So if anybody's any questions, incidentally, just text 083 3500 530. If you've got any questions, queries, or you want to know how particular voting patterns are going in your particular area, let us know now. Sorry, Paschal, you wanted to make a point. We might look at Ballymote in a moment. Paschal, just an overall.
No, I agree with what's been said, and Noel is absolutely right. This is pure speculation at this stage. All I'm trying to suggest to listeners is we all like a simple battle. We, apart from statistics and percentages, we like to know when we get down and dirty who's going to win or who's not going to win in terms of personalities. All I'm trying to suggest to you is that historically, South Sligo always elected at least one TD, historically, irrespective of party. Sometimes they elected 2. And for an awful long time, it was Fine Gael fiefdom, Roddy and Rogers, going way back to my father's time, God be good to him. So all I'm suggesting is that tradition is there.
Okay,
whether it will bear fruit on this occasion, how do I know?
Well, who wants to come and say, Eamon Scanlon well ahead of John Perry in all the Ballymote booths.
So,
well ahead.
So where will the second and thirds go? Will they stay in South Sligo or will they transfer party?
Okay, Ballymote booth 1, Scanlon 198, Perry 85. In booth 2, it's Scanlon 167, Perry 69. In booth 3, Scanlon 138, Perry 84. And in booth 4, Scanlon 197, Perry 89.
Now, I'd like to know what John is thinking about that as he looks at those figures. Where is he going to make the breakout? Because he's been surrounded on all sides, in that he has Tony McLaughlin coming out of Sligo town, and he has Reynolds coming out of Leitrim, Jerry Reynolds coming out of Leitrim. I know that he canvassed in North Leitrim for the first time ever. They were telling me down there that he used to have his posters up, but that he never canvassed, primarily because Tony McLaughlin, that was his designated area.
When you say you'd like to hear what John has to say, do you mean John Perry or John Comiskey?
No, John Perry. Yeah, no, I'm just saying, I'm just wondering. It's just a suggestion from a human point of view.
Sure.
How is he seeing this and knowing that the battle is going to be was always going to be between himself and Eamon Scanlon in that area? And I take the point that John has made about the Michael Clark vote, but that Michael Clark vote, could have gone anywhere. The fact that it has come home, as it were, is a big plus for Fianna Fáil, I think.
We've 45% of the boxes open in County Sligo now as we speak. John Comiskey.
Yes, and what we'll be looking at with interest is the battle between O'Rourke and Reynolds when we come to the Leitrim votes. That's where it'll be. And if they're in any way close to Perry and Scanlon, then it'll determine how the seats are going to go. So it's going to be a 4-way battle there. But at the moment, we're only looking at Ballymote and we're only looking at Scanlon and Perry. But given that there's a swing to Fianna Fáil here, albeit at the